What's up, guys? I'm coming to you from Oak Creek Canyon. It's one of my favorite places in Arizona. A beautiful, beautiful garden atmosphere called Indian Gardens. I'm going to turn it around. So hopefully you saw pretty good there. But yeah, beautiful environment. And as always nowadays, I'm just trying to keep it loose. So not too stuck on a particular topic that I'm going to talk about. But there is one topic actually that has been kind of bouncing around, and we'll see if that's what comes in today. Actually, it might be what's coming in, because it seems like my energy is kind of hovering around it. But something else just came up, and I think maybe I'll start in with this and see if the energy can merge. In this moment, I'm actually tuning into a grand appreciation. I'm very grateful just for the moment that I'm in right in this moment. And, I'm also grateful that I'm having the capacity at this moment to emotionally respond to the reality from a higher kind of perspective, which is, recognizing the majesty in every moment and the magic in every moment that exists. And I know that it's indiscriminate in the sense that the magic of the moment is in every single moment. But I don't always experience that when I'm having resistance to the particular moment that I'm in. But, the practice of appreciating and finding that natural, inborn, intrinsic appreciative state that is our true essence, and letting that express naturally without any resistance or thought-based blockages is a tremendously beautiful gift. And so I'm really grateful for that. So with that said, some of the stuff that I have been thinking about for a long time, and that's partially the reason why I've been a little bit cautious to talk about it, because I've thought about it so much, and I want it to be something that's coming, just directly from the spontaneity of the moment, and not something that I've overanalyzed, because that's something that, if I'm regurgitating frameworks, it takes me out of the present moment to one degree. And even though a lot of what I've kind of uncovered or concluded about certain things is what I would say is a accurate perception and resonant with my interpretation of reality, there's also this way that it can become unnatural when expressing it in a robotic kind of way. So with all that said, I think the topic I'll just take a stab at and see what happens is this topic that I'm calling the sexual matrix. And what I mean by that is, I guess there's kind of different angles I could approach it from. One being that, the matrix as I've described it in numerous different ways could mean like the 3D matrix, or it could mean the New Age matrix, or the fundamentalist religious matrix, which the New Age and fundamentalist religious matrix I've kind of named the second matrix. So it's like the fence outside the fence. And the sexual matrix is something that I guess one way of describing it is in the realm of meta matrices, is that it's kind of like the nuts and bolts of the matrix in general. And I mean that because the life, I see it as kind of like all of creation is a manifestation of masculine, feminine, sexual energy. And so humanity's relationship to sexuality is at the core of all creation. And so the distortions and the programs that have been implemented to control the how sexual energy is expressed throughout humanity, I believe, are the nuts and bolts of all of the matrices, because it is the core life force energy dynamic at the core of all creation. And so this is something I'm not going to be able to cover in one video. There's going to have to be a lot of videos on it because there's so many different angles. And this is something I've just been cracking into over the course of the last couple years, especially in the last 8 or 9 months after the breakup that I had, because kind of facing all of my relationship flaws and distortive behaviors has really kind of inspired me to look much deeper at what are these programs, what are these false kind of programs that I've been perpetuating that has ended in the failure of a relationship. And it runs so deep, and when we look at the culture and humanity and how the you could say the cultural relationship container kind of program runs, it's something that I think everyone would agree that there's a lot of problems with it, and there's successive layers to it. There's 3D matrix romance issues, and then there's the second matrix romance issues, and I think a lot of them are actually founded in the same fundamental issue. One of those being shame and the relationship of shame to sexuality, which is something that's been highly, highly influenced by porn, because the shame that's transmitted through pornographic videos is almost, you could say, like a sexual spiritual virus that is taken on by people that indulge in a like masturbatory acts with pornographic footage, and then that's passed through actual sexual expression from person to person. And it's actually been something so rampant that it's kind of snuck its way into all of culture, and you can see this overt hypersexualization of humanity, which really, I think, in a lot of ways started as a hypersexualization of women, and then has become hypersexualization in general, that has put a big cloud over soul awareness. What I mean by that is that I think that in a natural sense, what draws people together is soul resonance. Right? So where you will find yourself in your life is where your soul resonates, assuming that you're following the resonance of your soul. Now, programs in general, matrix programs, are those that put ideologies or different belief systems into our consciousness that then become embodied belief systems, so highly emotionally charged, in our body, frequency blockers that kind of shut down our energetic circulatory system and cut us off from our soul's communication. And then we follow these idea-based, image-based, kind of patterns in our life, and that's what directs us. And so we've seen that happen in so many different levels, and we can point out so many different issues with the matrix paradigms, and how they do that. One of the ones that's happened really intensely in the sexual matrix is one of the exchange of hypersexual energy in a way that it clouds soul resonance recognition. So instead of people finding their, you could say, soulmate through following resonance, they've been programmed to be attracted to and aroused by such a distorted perception of sexuality that that's like the smoke or the fog that runs through the culture, preventing souls that are really truly in resonance with each other from being able to find each other. Because it's difficult to recognize soul resonance, which, especially in this culture, is can be a very subtle thing to tune into, especially at first. It can be very difficult to find soul resonance with someone else when there are so many different seductive sexual energetic projections that are pulling our attention left and right on a regular basis. And so one of the common things you'll see is that people are constantly in relationships and then in breakups, and relationships and breakups, and relationships and breakups, or they find themselves locked into a trauma bond relationship over a long, long period of time, in which there isn't really a soul resonance, but there was kind of like an ego, or maybe like a sexual programmed connection that was developed. But then due to trauma bonds, people don't exit the relationship, and those relationships are very, very painful, and sometimes they can last extremely long time. People can stay married, but it's only because people, the only way a relationship like that can stay long term is if people start playing into roles and ignoring their true essence. And so then you see the depression that and resentment that settles into a relationship over time, when people are actually out of resonance and playing into roles in order to perpetuate a relationship. Now, if they don't do that, they just break out of the relationship, and you see this perpetual kind of turnover of people, on this never-ending like circular doorway of relationship after relationship. And a lot of this has to do, like I said, with this hypersexuality that has been projected through media, you just look at the overt sexualization of body language and poses and magazine covers and media and Hollywood and all this stuff that we grew up with, that is created a provocative kind of trance in humanity that kind of sucks people in the tractor beam of sexual enticement, and pulls them away from the kind of graceful, thoughtful, heart-centered exploration of humans, from a soul resonance kind of orientation that leads them actually to someone who is a soul match for them. So I know there's a lot there just even in that, what I said, but I'm kind of setting the stage a little bit, because I guess I'm going to be making more of these, because there's a lot of different angles I want to go into in relation to the sexual matrix. So here's a little intro to it, and I'm sure a lot of you guys have some opinions or some ideas or some things that you've experienced in relation to this. So I'm excited to hear what you have to say, so be sure to go ahead and put some of what you have to share in the comments below. And you can expect that at some point, when it feels in the flow and natural, I will continue going into this and cover different areas like the biological ecosystem of distorted sexuality, how that shows up hormonally and in the nervous system, and I also get into the interdimensional kind of qualities of things that are going on there, and it's quite vast, so we'll get into it. And this is a topic I'm fascinated by, and I'd love to open up conversation around. So thank you guys for tuning in, and let me know what your thoughts are. Much love.